जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 8, entitled Manifestation of Brahma from Vishnu. Text number 7. Proktam kilaitad bhagvattamena. Proktam kilaitad bhagvattamena. Nivritti dharma viratayatena. Nivritti dharma viratayatena. सनत कुमाराय सचाह पृष्टः। सनत कुमाराय सचाह पृष्टः। सांख्यायनायंग धृतव्रताय। सांख्यायनायांग धृतव्रताय। प्रोक्तम किलैतद् भगवत्तमेन। निवृत्ति धर्माभिरतायतेन। सनत कुमाराय सचाह पृष्टः। सांख्यायनायांग धृतव्रताय। प्रोक्तम किलैतद् भगवत्तमेन। निवृत्ति धर्माभिरतायतेन। सनत कुमाराय सचाह पृष्टः। सांख्यायनायांग धृतव्रताय। प्रोक्तम किलैतद् भगवत्तमेन। निवृत्ति धर्माभिरताय तेन सनत्कुमाराय स चाह पृष्टः सांख्यायनायांगधृतवृताय प्रोक्तं किलैतद्भगवत्तमेन निवृत्तिधर्माभिरताय तेन सनत्कुमाराय स चाह पृष्टः सांख्यायनायांगधृतवृताय प्रोक्तं किलैतद्भगवत्तमेन निवृत्तिधर्माभिरताय तेन सनत्कुमाराय स चाह पृष्टः सांख्यायनायांगधृतवृताय. Word to word meanings. Proktam was said. Kila certainly. Etat this. Bhagavattamena by Lord Sankarshana. Nivritti renunciation. Dharma abhirataya unto one who has taken this religious vow. Tena by him. Sanat Kumaraya unto Sanat Kumara. Sah he. Cha also. Aha said. Prishtah when inquired of. Sankhyayanaya unto the great sage Sankhyayana. Anga my dear Vidura. Dhritavritaya unto one who has taken such a vow. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Translation. Lord Sankarshana thus spoke the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam to the great sage Sanat Kumar, who had already taken the vow of renunciation. Sanat Kumara also in his turn, when inquired of by Sankhyayan Muni, explained Srimad Bhagavatam as he had heard it from Sankarshana. Purport. This is the way of the Parampara system. Although Sanat Kumar, the well-known great saintly Kumar, was in the perfect stage of life, still he heard the message of Srimad Bhagavatam from Lord Sankarshana. Similarly, when he was questioned by Sankhyayan Rishi, he spoke to him the same message he had heard from Lord Sankarshana. In other words, unless one hears from the proper authority, one cannot become a preacher. In devotional service, therefore, 2 items out of the 9, namely hearing and chanting, are the most important. Without hearing nicely, one cannot preach the message of Vedic knowledge. Jnanatimidandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve namaha. Shri Chaitanya manobhishtham sthapitam yena bhutale swayam rupaha kadamahyam dadati swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Prabhupada explains the Parampara system in this verse, in this purport, how the Parampara system is working, how Parampara system works. So we know that for acquiring knowledge, there are 2 popular processes, 2 very common processes known to us. One is the ascending process, which is also known as Aroha Pantha or the inductive process. and the other one is the descending process or the avaroha pantha, or it is also known as deductive process. So ascending process means we are trying to find out the knowledge by ourselves. We are not relying on any superior authority. We are just going by our means to understand what knowledge, to acquire knowledge basically. And descending process means we are relying on some higher authority, some other source of truth which gives us true and proper perfect knowledge. So in Vedic systems we consider descending, we follow the descending process, we don't go on the ascending process. To understand these differences more clearly, Prabhupada explains, has given a lot of examples, very nicely he has explained. He gives an example that, for example, if you want to understand whether some person, let's say for example Mr. Johnson, if he is mortal or not, how we'll figure it out. So we know there is through descending process we know that man is mortal, every man dies, that we have accepted. So if we accept the fact that man is mortal, then we know that Mr. Johnson is a man, so he is mortal. So that's the end of inquiry, and we are in perfect knowledge that we have concluded that Mr. John is mortal. But the same knowledge, same thing if we want to ascertain by using the ascending process or the aroha pantha or the inductive process, then we have to figure out, okay, we may say some men are mortal, some men may not be mortal, because we have not figured out whether men are mortal or not, because we are not accepting that fact through descending process. So we want to figure out whether man is mortal or not. So we may try through some other way, but we may always have the doubt that, oh, some man may not be mortal. So therefore we will never be able to conclude whether Mr. Johnson or Mr. John, whether he is mortal or not. So therefore this ascending process will never lead us to a proper conclusion. It will never lead us to the truth. So that is the fault with the ascending process. Also in the ascending process, for acquiring knowledge, there are three different pramanas also, three different ways to ascertain knowledge. So apart from these two processes, the three pramanas, they are pratyaksha pramana, or by seeing and perceiving, receiving knowledge by seeing and perceiving. Then there is anumana pramana, or by guesswork, by guessing we want to figure out through assumptions. Maybe it is like this, maybe something is like that. So we are assuming, that is called anuman pramana. And the third one is shabda pramana, or hearing the message from the authority, which is descending process. So in the three pramanas, the shabda pramana is considered to be the most perfect. The pratyaksha pramana, there are a lot of many deficiencies, many weaknesses, many flaws, because first of all we are all conditioned souls, so we have 4 defects, as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, that every conditioned living entity, he is conditioned with 4 imperfections, 4 defects. So he explains these imperfections as Brahma, Pramada, Vipralipsa and Karana Patava. So Brahma means the tendency to make mistakes. Any person who is conditioned by the defects of material nature, he is sure to commit mistakes. Very popular example can be given like Christopher Columbus. He set out to search for India. He went and he assumed that he believed that the world is round, so in whichever direction I go, I will lead to India. So he set out from the opposite direction and he reached somewhere. He reached America actually, but he felt that this is India and he concluded that this is India. So that is mistake. That is how we can make mistake, because we are conditioned. We don't know perfect knowledge, so we are sure to make mistakes. Then there is pramada, or illusion. Every living entity is in illusion. Every conditioned living entity, every conditioned soul, and every person in this material world who is conditioned, he is in illusion. He thinks that this body is everything. There is nothing beyond it. So they have not seen the true thing, so therefore they assume the body to be everything, and they spend their entire lives, entire time, entire energy in taking care of the body, not knowing that there is a soul. So this is called pramada, not being in illusion. The third defect of the conditioned soul is called vipralipsa, or the tendency to cheat. Especially in the modern world of modern science, we see there are many instances where scientists have cheated. They have modified the proofs, they have tampered with the evidences, and they have presented something, and later on it has come out that something else was the truth. So we see that, and in order to achieve their own political or whatever motives, one may have the tendency to cheat to establish his own point. So it is very common among conditioned living entities. This is the third defect of the conditioned living entity. And the fourth defect is, and the most important one, Karana Patava. It is that every living entity has imperfect senses. We don't have complete senses. Our senses are imperfect. To give a simple example, there is a wide spectrum of electromagnetic rays of radiation, but our eyes, we can see only from a specific bandwidth, from violet to red. This is the band that we can see. Beyond this we cannot see. Ultraviolet rays we cannot see. Infrared rays we cannot see. So that's how our senses are imperfect. Even our hearing frequency is limited. We can hear only from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. We cannot hear frequencies below or above this range. There is a sound which is made, it is specifically for repelling dogs. Sometimes they play that frequency. Humans cannot hear it, but only the dogs can hear it, and all the dogs in the locality will run away. So because we cannot understand these frequencies, our senses are limited, so we cannot approach the perfect truth. If I want to know the proper truth, because of our limited senses, because of these 4 defects and because of our limited senses, we cannot know what the truth is. So we have to rely on a superior authority. That is how the Vedic system works. Another example is that if someone wants to know who is his father, there are again, according to the 2 processes that we discussed, ascending process and descending process. If one wants to follow the ascending process, then he has to do so much research. He has to do the test of so many individuals in the world, and it may take a lot of years, and he may not even find who his father is. So ascending process will not lead him to a proper conclusive, to an end of his search. But at the same time, if he follows descending process, what is the descending process in this case? He can ask his mother, who is my father? And mother will immediately tell him, so and so person is your father. And it is the end of research. He is saved of so much of hard work just by relying on the authority. And because of ascending process, we see that there are so many imperfections. Most of the proofs that we accept in this modern setup of our society, we are always relying on ascending process, the modern science especially. If they have to explain how this human society came into existence, how this world was created, they have popular theories like Darwinism and the Big Bang theory, and they are speculations. Darwin, he himself uses the words like perhaps and maybe more than 100 times in his book on the origin of species. So he has not concluded what the truth is. So because of following the ascending process, we are still not able to figure out what the truth is, how man actually came into existence. There are a lot of philosophers in the West also who disagree with the Darwin's theory. They don't accept it. In fact, I have heard that in some curriculums in the West, they are not teaching Darwin's theory. And then the Big Bang theory also is similar. They believe that there was some point when there was an explosion, and from that the entire universe has come into existence. So they are believing into accident theory. Prabhupada explains this accident theory, that how can you believe on accident theory? Prabhupada says that just look around yourselves. There are so many proofs that things have not come by chance. Just for example, the sun, it rises up every morning sharp at a proper timing, whatever the time of sunrise is, 6 o'clock, 6:30. Every day without fail, punctuality, the sun is rising at the proper predefined time. How is it possible every day? It may happen one day, it may happen 2 times, it may happen 3 days, but every day? How can you explain this? Even to organize a simple setup, if someone wants to establish a business, and if he wants to run a simple organization, he has to put so much intelligence, so much brain to organize and manage some 30, 40, 50 employees. So how can this such a big universe, which is a perfect establishment in itself, this entire nature, how it can run without the intervention of an intelligent creator? So that is the fault of modern science. So therefore, one has to take knowledge from the Vedic authority, from the bona fide authoritative chain, which is giving proper and perfect knowledge. And that is stressed in this verse, that we should follow the Parampara system and how Parampara system works. Also, if we see in general, every person, even a common man of the society, he is still following the descending process only. Although his source may be science, but actually every person is not doing all the experiments that scientists have done. He is ultimately accepting the authority of science, but he is accepting an authority. So in one sense, he is following the descending process. But the problem is that they have not taken shelter of the perfect authority. They have taken shelter of an imperfect authority. But they should, if they take shelter of a proper Vedic authority, then they will not be in illusion. In the Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 2nd verse, Krishna says, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. So Krishna also has set up this, established this parampara system. It is not that it has come into existence, we have discovered it. No, it is already established by Krishna from time immemorial. In the first verse itself, Krishna says that many years ago, in the first verse of the 4th chapter in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Imam vivasvate yogan proktavan aham avyayam vivasvan manave prahu manurikshvakve bravit. So many years ago, millions of years ago, I spoke the same science of Bhagavad Gita to sun god Vivasvan, and then who went on instructing it in his disciplic succession. So Krishna does not say that he is giving some new knowledge, he is giving the same age-old knowledge. So that is how the truth is. Truth cannot be invented. It is already there and it has to be accepted by a proper chain of disciplic succession, a proper bona fide authority which is repeating the same truth. Truth cannot be changed, or it cannot be invented. So to get perfect knowledge, one has to take shelter of bona fide authority only. There is no other alternative available. Prabhupada also mentions in the purport of that second verse of the 4th chapter in Bhagavad Gita, that Bhagavad Gita, if it is accepted as it is a great boon to humanity. But if it is accepted as a treatise of philosophical speculations, it is simply a waste of time. Philosophical speculations of Krishna, but at the same time he is enjoying his property. He is taking all the good of from this material nature, from the creation of Krishna, but at the same time they don't want to accept the authority of Krishna. This is known as philosophical speculations. And Prabhupada also writes that they make a good business out of these words of Krishna, out of the words of Krishna. I remember a popular example. Some days back we were distributing books in nearby. We met some person who said that he already has a Bhagavad Gita. So we explained him that you should take the original Bhagavad Gita. He said, yeah, I have a book called My Gita. And when we inquired further, we came to know that somebody has written a book known as My Gita, in which he is giving his own interpretations, own understandings of Bhagavad Gita. So, but these people, they don't understand that Krishna has already given the perfect knowledge. Why do you want to use Krishna's words as a business and sell your own ideas? He knows, because he wants to sell his own idea, and he knows that Bhagavad Gita is popular, so therefore he is using Bhagavad Gita to present his thoughts. If he wants to present his thoughts, he might have taken different way also. But no, he wants to use Krishna's words and then he wants to make a business out of it. So this is what Prabhupada has already explained 50 years back in his Bhagavad Gita. So he has clearly explained how people are doing. Even during Prabhupada times, Prabhupada mentions in that purport itself that there are a lot of editions of Bhagavad Gita available in the market, especially in English, and none of them, Prabhupada says, that follows closely that perfect teaching of perfect understanding of Bhagavad Gita. Why it does not follow? Because they are not following the process of the parampara. They are not accepting this process which Krishna has established. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu. So they are not accepting this process, and therefore their Bhagavad Gita is not correct, and one who will try to follow those Bhagavad Gitas, he will not get any advantage out of it. Krishna establishes, therefore, and Krishna says that Sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. In course of time, because this science was lost, so Krishna is re-establishing the same principles again. He is not again giving anything new. He says, Sa evayam mayate yadya yoga prokta puratana. So it is an old science, it is not invented. Like modern science, they always want to invent knowledge. First there is one theory is proposed, then there are corrections, and then there is another theory, and then there is another theory, and then we conclude that we started with a wrong premise. A simple example we may take that for understanding the structure of an atom, there were a lot of theories. Initially, Dalton proposed that there is an atom, then Thomson invented electron, and then he said there would be proton also. Then Rutherford, he said that there should be nucleus also, and then finally Niels Bohr came in 1913 and he said that there are orbits also, electrons orbit around the nucleus. So from Dalton came in 1808 and Niels Bohr came in 1913. So from 1808 to 1913, whoever followed the prevalent theory of atoms, he was not in perfect knowledge. If we assume that Bohr gave the perfect knowledge, obviously, But that means that during the period of this time, whoever followed before Bohr, whoever tried to understand the atomic theory, he could not get the perfect truth. So that is how invented knowledge, it always keeps on changing. And if we rely on invented knowledge, we will always be in ignorance. We will not get the true picture always. And if we, at the same time, if we take perfect authority, perfect bona fide parampara, a proper bona fide guru coming in the disciplic succession, then we will not be cheated. Who is a perfect guru? Who comes in a bona fide parampara and who repeats the same message what he has heard from the parampara. Prabhupada gives this example, very common, very often he has given, that just like a postman, he delivers the envelope to you, he does not change the contents. Whatever the sender has sent, the same message that postman he is giving to you without changing it, and therefore you are accepting it. But if in the course of transmission, if the postman changes the message, then we will not accept it. So similar, that is the process of parampara. It is like a transparent via media from Krishna to every living entity, whoever is connected to the parampara, to give him the proper knowledge. And when somebody follows the parampara, then he is not cheated. If he does not follow the parampara, then there is chaos, there is mistakes. We see in modern society so many inventions, so they are trying to solve varieties of problems, but because their knowledge is not perfect, they are not reaching to the solutions. A common example which is often given is the cars. How the cars were invented. Previously, people thought that they were using horse carriages. So every time there would be a lot of horse dung on the road, and because it was increasing a lot, people assumed that if we do not do something to solve this problem, then in the course of 50 years, the roads will be filled with 12 feet of horse stools. So therefore, we need to figure out some perfect solution. So they researched and they came up with cars. Very nice. They invented cars, and these cars had solved a lot of problems because now there is no more horse dung on the roads, and they are able to move fast. Also, transportation also increased in speed. But was it the solution? No, we came up with so many other problems. We gave birth to so many new problems. We gave birth to pollution, noise pollution also, and environmental pollution also. We came up with so many horrible industries to make cars. There was a research done by some person. I am not able to recollect the source, but he said that before the invention of cars, when horse carriages were used in London, to go from one end to the another end, the average speed would be 12 kilometers per hour. And after inventing cars and developing modern roads, traffic signals, and of course not to forget the modern traffic of a big city, what is the average speed now? It is still 12 kilometers per hour. So we have not even solved the original problem, but we have given birth to a set of new problems. So that is what happens when we rely on invented knowledge, and we do not, or when we go through the ascending process and we do not rely on the proper authority, on a parampara to receive knowledge. Another example is Punjab, how it was developed to be the wheat bowl of India. They put a lot of chemicals, fertilizers to grow wheat. It was the era of green revolution. So they wanted to develop more grains. So they put a lot of chemical fertilizers, and they were happy with the production. But now, after so many years, we have found that there are a lot of patients cancer patients in Punjab. There is a popular train that runs from Punjab to Bikaner. In Bikaner, there is some cancer hospital. So that train carries all the cancer patients from Punjab to Bikaner for treatment and back to their home. And this train is named as cancer train, Cancer Express. So that is how invented knowledge works. That is how the ascending process, how it leads to defects, how it leads to chaos, and it does not take us to a proper conclusion. Even coronavirus, which has now recently come up, one may say, how is coronavirus a result of ascending process? It's happening. But the solutions that we are trying to implement to cure coronavirus they will never not be effective because of we following this ascending process. We are in this modern city setup. We are now, because everyone, previously the system given by Krishna was Varnashrama. It was not this modern city system that we are following. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam. So the Vedic process is that everyone lives peacefully in the villages, simple life. They grow their own food. They nurture some cows, and through that they are maintained. Their food, clothing and shelter needs are fulfilled by nature only. There is no need to work so hard, horribly in the horrible cities and make so much effort to just be so-called happy, to earn some money and lead a so-called comfortable life. There is no comfort as well. We see that people are working so hard, so many hours a day, 12 hours, 14 hours a day. So that is not a good quality of material life also. Even if somebody is considering material happiness, this kind of life is not even a happy life materially. So because we are living in cities, now we have to do social distancing. We have to be quarantined to be saved from coronavirus. But if we would have followed this simple Vedic process that Krishna has given, there would not have been so much spread of coronavirus in the first place, because everyone is happy in their villages. Nobody is traveling like crazy, taking flights from China to Hong Kong, China to America to do some business, because they are simply happy living in their lands, growing their own food and living a simple life. Because they took to a ascending process of receiving knowledge, not going through the parampara. So one thing led to another thing led to another, and now we are into this system and into this chaos of coronavirus, and we don't even know what to do. So therefore, a proper bona fide system is always needed for a conditioned soul. One has to take resort of a pure authority. So there are four. One may ask now how to get through a bona fide parampara. So the process is Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. It is simple. Guru means a bona fide person who is falling in a parampara, coming directly from Krishna. So there are four Vaishnava Sampradayas: Shri Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, Kumar Sampradaya and Brahm Sampradaya. So anyone coming in this parampara and repeating the same message of the parampara, same message of Krishna, he may be considered a bona fide Guru. So that Guru may be accepted. Also Prabhupada explains how one should accept a Guru. He should hear from him for at least 1 year. After hearing, he should be able to surrender to that person. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashtena sevaya. So after hearing for 1 year, he should be able to figure out that, okay, this is the authority where I can surrender. This is the perfect authority. He is giving proper knowledge according to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So I said Guru and Sadhu means saintly persons, and Shastra means the words of the scripture. So scripture gives perfect knowledge. So this perfect channel, this channel of triangle of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra should be followed. A proper Guru should be accepted from one of these four Vaishnava Sampradayas. And why it is necessary? Because we need to understand that we are in this material world. We are in a condition of drowning. So a drowning man cannot save himself automatically in the middle of the ocean. Even no matter how good swimmer he is, he cannot go to the shore by himself. So he needs some external help. And also we need to know that another drowning man cannot save a drowning man. We need somebody who is pure, who is safe from this drowning, who is out of this problem of from this drowning ocean. Then he can pull us out and he can take us into a safe boat. So therefore we should take resort of such a pure authority who is coming in bona fide parampara, and take his shelter and follow his instructions, serve him, make humble inquiries. It is not that he should blindly accept whatever he is saying. He may have questions, he may get those questions cleared by humble submissive inquiries. Prabhupada says in this verse of 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 34th verse, Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashtena sevaya. Prabhupada says he should surrender, he should not challenge. So challenging inquiries will not give any result. Like we were hearing a few days back one lecture of Prabhupada. We saw one person in Hyderabad. Prabhupada was giving this lecture in Hyderabad. Somebody asked about Dvaita and Advaita. And Prabhupada nicely explained him through different analogies of how finger is a part of the body. And basically he explained Advaita and Advaita Siddhanta. He also gave the example of gold. But that person was still he was still in the mode of challenging, so he explained, he asked, prove how. Although Prabhupada has explained clearly, but because he is in the mode of challenging, he is not able to understand this knowledge. So Prabhupada had to conclude by saying that it needs fertile brain. That means Prabhupada exposed that this person, he is not applying his brain. So some basic intelligence is required also to to find out a proper parampara, to find out a proper guru and then follow it. If you are going to the market to buy gold, you should have some idea that this is how gold is. Otherwise, you will be cheated. That's what is happening in the current society, current generation. There is a plethora of gurus we can see around us, and people are happy to give some money to them and receive some cheap system of spirituality, and they feel that they are spiritual. They are following some kind of a guru, because guru is a business. It's a fashion. Everyone has to have a guru. So people are getting cheated by these gurus, and they want to get cheated actually, because they don't want the real knowledge, because they want to be happy in their own sense gratificatory mode, in the way of, because they are interested in doing all sense gratification. If a true guru will come, he will ask to give up the all nonsense that we are doing. Like Prabhupada, he gave us the system that four activities should be stopped. He gave the 4 don'ts: no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, no meat eating. But modern people, they don't want to follow this. So therefore they are happy with some so-called cheap gurus in the market. They are going to them, they are becoming their disciples, and they are giving them some money, and they are happy. They feel that they are spiritual. But we should have some intelligence to ascertain who is a proper guru, who is speaking the true knowledge. And the system is same only: Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. We should see that it is coming inside this triangle. It should fall inside this triangle of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Then our knowledge will be perfect. Then we will not be cheated. Otherwise, we will be cheated. Also, Prabhupada says in this purport, in the end, Prabhupada explains that one should hear. Prabhupada stresses the importance of hearing for someone in a parampara. That unless one hears, Prabhupada writes, in other words, unless one hears from the proper authority, one cannot become a preacher. So therefore we see in the Shastras, and Prabhupada also writes that in devotional service, therefore 2 items out of 9. We know that there are 9. Now the 9 angas of devotional service, 9 parts of devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. Iti pumsar pito garbhas bhaktis chenava lakshana kriyate bhagavatyadya tanmanyadita muttapam. Prahlad Maharaj says in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that these are the 9 processes of devotional service: hearing, Shravanam, Kirtanam, chanting, or giving the same message of parampara that one has heard. That is also Kirtanam. Of Vishnu, obviously, of not somebody else, because we see people hearing and talking about so many mundane subject matters. But this is supposed to be related to Vishnu, at least leading someone to the path of Vishnu. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, remembering. Shravanam, Archanam, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Archanam, worshipping. Vandanam, paying obeisances. Dasyam, serving as a servant. Sakhyam, and serving Krishna as a friend, like Arjuna did. And Atma Nivedanam, full surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord. The example given for this is Bali Maharaj, how he surrendered everything to the lotus feet of the Lord. So out of these 9 angas of devotional service, 9 parts of devotional service, one may just do 1 or 2 perfectly. That is also sufficient for him to be successful in bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam are the most important, because hearing is the place from which is the point from which devotional service begins. So therefore hearing is paid so much importance. And then chanting. Sri Chaitanya Prabhupada writes in the purport to these verses in Bhagavatam that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, Chaito Darpana Marjanam, how chanting it clears the mirror of the heart. And also in various places in the scripture, in Bhagavatam also we see Shrinvata Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ridyantasto Yabhadrani Vidunoti Surit Satam. So by hearing Krishna Katha, the dirt within the heart, it is cleared and one becomes purified, And after that, and through this process only, this process is bhakti, and through this process only one can repeat the message of parampara and give the same message and become a proper preacher. Also Krishna says about hearing in Bhagavad Gita in the 7th chapter, 1st verse, Samshyam samagramam yatha gyasasi tachrunu. So now hear, O son of Pritha. So therefore therefore hearing is stressed throughout the Vedic scriptures, throughout the Vedic literatures, in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, that by hearing only we can, our devotional service can begins actually, and then by hearing only we can advance in our devotional life. So therefore hearing is very important for a preacher, and that is also stressed in this verse. Without hearing nicely, one cannot preach the message of Vedic knowledge. So therefore hearing of the Vedic knowledge is, hearing from a proper authority is very important. So we end here. If there are any comments, questions, corrections, additions. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Kanatharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.